Hey guys, my name is Gabriel Yeargan. This is my active and sustainable transportation final presentation. I'm not sure if anybody other than the professor is going to see this, but just in case, if you see or I'm sorry, if you hear any sounds, it's going to be my cat. She's going a little crazy right now. But this is my final presentation, and for mine, I wanted to create a couple of proposed BRT routes for Richmond. Um, Now it's kind of interesting. My this whole project that I have stems from a hypothetical scenario um, of the map of Richmond in 2030, and this is what it would look like. Now this comes from a another assignment that I did previously this semester from my Intro to Urban Planning class, where my professor, Professor Pitt, um, he gave us an assignment to create proposed BRT routes in Richmond, and that we used based on what we know via the Richmond 300 master plan and what we think about Richmond and how it will look in 2030 in general. So we wanted to use our best educated guess, using everything that we could find to make the proposal. And then on this map, you see three different colors. The first color are these lines in yellow, and these are the ones that are already existing by 2030. They don't exist now. Hopefully they will someday, but they don't exist, or they do exist in 2030. So these are already pre-existing by this time. Everything you see in yellow is all recommended. They don't exist yet, but they were just recommended by 2030. And then what you see in red, all of this red is my proposed routes. So I made two proposed routes in conjunction to Richmond 300 master plan. Um, and then this is a large macro style scale of the Richmond 300 master plan. And all of these things on the map are nodes, and the nodes mean different things. So the orange and yellow, things like Southside Plaza, Stony Point Fashion, Downtown Core, these are all priority growth nodes. And that just means that Richmond 300 master plan, the planners and people who advocate for development want to prioritize these areas. They want to target and prioritize these areas for significant growth for both jobs, residential areas, mixed use development, rezoning, increased transportation, increased land use, sustainable sustainable development practices, all of the good stuff that comes for a planner. So as you might notice already, you can kind of see a pattern of why I did it. So my first proposed route is this one highlighted in green, and it begins right down here at down in Manchester. So this is the Midlothian through Hull Street, one that already exists again by 2030, and I wanted to connect it all the way down through the Route 1 corridor, all the way through Jefferson Davis, and then it would end at the county line. So this is one of my proposed routes. And the reason I chose this is because Manchester in 2030 could look very different than what it already does. Now, Manchester is a part of Richmond that not a lot of people talk about. It's historically underfunded. It's historically underdeveloped. It has a high crime rate, much higher than any other part of Richmond. Um, and overall, it's not an easy place to get around. So right here is another Richmond 300 master plan diagram of what Manchester wants to look like by 2030. So you see all of this new development that they have popping up. You see this bisecting commercial corridor. You see Hall Street, obviously, and then Oregon Hill, downtown. VCU campus is over there. And then this is where my proposed route would start. This circle is a little off. It should be around right here, off the coast of Murray Street. So if you see my cursor, right here is where it would end, or I'm sorry, where it would begin. And the second reason I chose it is because what you see here is another diagram detailing all of vacant buildings and then vacant land across Richmond in the Henrico County. Now, most of it is over here and over here, and I wanted to prioritize Manchester because I live close to Manchester, and I've seen how hard it is for people to get around, how many food deserts there are down here, how many vacant buildings, how much vacant land. Look at all this vacant land just sitting here doing nothing. All these vacant buildings. It's being bisected by these vacant buildings over here, and it's just sprawl. I don't know if you've ever been over here on Route 1 corridor. It's sprawl. It's nothing but sprawl. So people have to take their own cars. There's no public transportation that zips them up or back, and I wanted to change that. And then right here, I highlighted the priority growth node. That's this. And then one of it is they're rezoning it. The corridor plan is develop a route and recommendations to transform Great Street. The transit alignment with community input to develop a preferred alignment for a north-south. So the north-south is technically in 2030, again, all the way through here, through Hull Street. But they wanted to make one a South BRT line through Manchester, either Cowerton or Hull Street, and that's what I've done. And then obviously Bells Road is the second priority node, and it has the exact same incentives as the other one, is to rezone it, to make more of the vacant land that is underdeveloped more developed. And I think a BRT line that would take it would be a lot of quick movement up and down these two ways right here you see. Look at this. Like this guy, there's no development here. It's just sprawl. This guy has to walk on the side of the road. There's no direct bus stop, or there's no bus lane. So congested traffic just grinds to a halt. Yeah, it's hard to get through. Other than like past this, you see right here, it's just neighborhoods. So you have to take a car to either get to where you want to go or be where you want to be. There's no real public transportation through here, and I wanted to change that. My second proposed route is through here, and it's a much longer one, and it's a much more complex one. I wanted initially to start it from the South Belvedere Street and then get on to through campus, so it would allow students, professors, or just anybody who wants to work in the downtown area near the Bank District, Shockoe Bottom, or out near the Fan to get to where they need to go quickly, because the I-95 and then onto I-146 and then onto I-76 across the bridge here. It's a very fast route. If you take the corridor down here and then go all the way up, just to even get through to here over to Forest Hills, it's about 10 minutes, no more, no less. And I wanted to prioritize just like a spiderweb formation of flexibility and quickness for all people. So I got the Manchester route out of the way, and I wanted to prioritize this one. And Stratford Hills, it's not a priority node, it's a neighborhood node. So it'll be like the secondary part of the Richmond 300 master plan. But they're rezoning a lot of areas. My BRT route would go straight through this area. They're going to incorporate a gridded street network of cohesive redevelopment, and then they're going to improve the pedestrian and bike infrastructure. Specifically, I would like to give the BRT route because they have a lot of trouble with vehicle pedestrian accidents. I'm sorry, not accidents, incidents, truck crashes. It's terrible down there. They have a high accident rate over there. And then it would go all the way up through Chippenham Parkway to Stony Point Fashion Park, which is it's currently being developed a little bit. It's trying to, but it's hard because there's no in any of these areas. It's not historically undeveloped. It's pretty high quality neighborhood. It's single family homes over here. It's a lot of like high multi-million-dollar houses, a lot of bike lanes, but there's no public transportation whatsoever. Right here is on the primary next steps for this entire area is for transit expansion, for expand transit service to reach Stony Point. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to highlight this area and make sure that people were able to get to it or get from it. And then, so just in general, my primary goal, you can see I highlighted everything in yellow that would exist by 2030, is to just make sure that people have access to where they want to go. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's if Richmond looks like this by 2030, it won't. But if it did, it would be fantastic. All of these routes being able to transport people from where they wanted to go, it would be amazing. Getting rid of all this sprawl down here, or trying to redevelop all this sprawl and get it incorporated with the greater part of Manchester, making sure people are able to get from here to their jobs over here or out to where they live. That was my main goals. I just wanted to give a large amount of people access to where they wanted to go. Thank you for listening.